What's going on, everybody? This is Tyler Wiebe from Pro Physique, and today we're going to talk about what to expect during your first prep. Right, welcome back, everybody. Again, this is Tyler Wiebe from Pro Physique. And it's Monday. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend doing whatever you're doing, that you're crushing this Monday and just making it work this week. But today I wanted to talk about expectations going into your first prep. Now, I know it's not quite competition season, but I have been talking to a lot of my clients who are looking to prep for their very first show next year, and prepping season is quickly coming upon us. And so I thought it would be a good idea just to chat about what to expect during your first prep, because this is definitely something that most people have really never gone through anything like this before. And I remember going into my first prep. I'll talk a little bit about my experience, because I still think it's very important. I remember going into my first prep, 2014, 2015, right around there, thinking it was going to be easy. I did not expect it to be that hard. I think at that time, flexible dieting had really, started taking off, was in its infancy, and kind of really made it seem like, hey, like, prep's easy. Like, it's not that hard. You don't have to grind through it day by day. You get to eat whatever you want. You don't have to do a lot of cardio. It's mainly just HIIT cardio, and you just get shredded. And that was my expectation going into my very first prep. Boy, was I wrong. It was very difficult. And there are days where you can't, you have trouble moving, you are very hungry, and just overall I was not ready mentally ready for a prep. I did not do a good job of preparing myself for it. And just like with anything that's your very first experience, you never truly know what to expect until you've gone through it. So there is still that aspect. Like, you can still prepare yourself mentally, but until you've gone through it, you have no idea what it's like and how you're going to react to certain things. And so going into this second prep, just this last summer, I spent a good, 4 or 5 months, when I made the decision, okay, I was going to do prep this year. As soon as I made that decision, I started preparing mentally for prep, because I remembered how difficult it was. And I found that, it was still really hard and probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. But mentally, I was so much better because I was prepared for it, right? Like, I knew what to expect. And so knowing what to expect is still a really good thing for those who are going into their very first prep. Again, you're not going to know what it's actually like until you experience it, but to have an idea is a good thing. Prep is hard. It is not an easy thing. For people who are like, hey, what should I expect during prep? I tell them it could potentially be, without knowing their life background and the situations that they've gone through in life, it could potentially be one of the most difficult things you have done so far in your life. Granted, you haven't had any traumatic experiences in your life. The first few weeks, 8, 9, 10 weeks is actually awesome. Like, it's actually a lot of fun. Weight's dropping, food isn't too low yet, cardio isn't super high, you have all this energy, and you're seeing changes on a week-to-week basis, you're managing hunger not too bad, and everything's pretty good. It's once we start getting into those last 8, 9, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, depending on how long your prep is when things do tend to start getting a bit more difficult. So the leaner that we get, the more body fat that we lose, the more resistant the body is going to become. Fat storage is the body's lifeline, right? When we were nomads and hunting, we had to rely on our fat stores because we didn't know when we were going to eat next, right? And so the body has defense mechanisms that kick in when body fat starts getting low that go, hey, this is not good. We need body fat, right? And so it'll kind of like actively fight you in when you're trying to lose body fat. And so what does that mean? It means less food, and that means more cardio, right? And so food does start to get very low, and so hunger does start to kick in, right? We have our hormones that are full hormone, and we have our hunger hormone, and those start to shift, right? We start to get hungrier. When we eat, we don't really feel full. We just want to keep eating, right? So that's one way the body's defense mechanism is like, hey, like, I need body fat. Like, we're getting dangerously low here. And so we do have to fight that each and every day, right? We have to make sure that we can basically convince ourselves, like, no, like, I'm done eating. Like, I'm not going to eat. And like, it's a battle of attrition, right? It's a mental battle. Prep is a mental battle. Yes, like there is a physical battle of having to get into the gym and do your workouts and try and bring that intensity. But the harder battle is to convince yourself that you should go to the gym. That's more difficult. Once you're there, and you just get it done. But to get from the couch to the car to the gym, that's the bigger battle. Right? So we have the hunger issue. You are going to be hungry. There is no way around that. It's just a matter of fact. Some days you might be so hungry. Remember, there were some nights I had food dreams. I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about food. You become food obsessed. And that is a very big mental battle that you are going to have to face with your first prep, because you will probably have really never experienced hunger like you're about to experience. And we're so used to going, oh, I'm hungry, I'm just going to eat. When you're in prep, you go, I'm hungry, I can't eat, because either one, like I've got no macros left, or two, like my macros are already really low and like it's only like 2 p.m. and I've still got to have one more meal, right? So there is that issue. You are going to deal with hunger. So be prepared to be hungry. I mean, there are things that you can do to help mitigate that a little bit by eating high volumes foods. I know for me, the last 4-5 weeks, I basically ate cauliflower rice and spaghetti squash with like different kinds of meats and like hot sauces. Like that's all I ate, because like I could eat a full spaghetti squash in one sitting and it would fit easily within my macros, right? So I was felt like I was eating a lot without actually eating a lot. And then I had some chicken, some salsa, and like that was pretty much what I ate, right? 2, you are not going to be able to fit a bunch of fun foods in once you hit a certain point. So I know we preach flexible dieting. What you eat doesn't necessarily matter in terms of fat gain or fat loss. But you do have to remember, you are now basically on a very tight budget. So if you've got 150 grams of carbs, you're probably not blowing 70 of them on 2 Pop-Tarts. So food choices and food sources are going to get very unfun, right? You are going to eat clean, right? You are going to be basically, chicken, ground beef, and like veggies, and like I said, spaghetti squash, or like cauliflower rice, like stuff like that, right? Stuff that flexible dieting, and say, oh, well, you don't need to eat that. Well, no, you don't need, like, there's no magical properties to these foods. They just happen to be filling and low calories. And that's what you're going to want once you get to a certain point. The beginning of prep, yeah, you might have a little bit more room for like, hey, like, I'm still going to have an Oreo, right? But like I said, when you get down to like 150, 160, even lower grams of carbs, that's not something that, you're going to want it, but that's not something that you're going to want to waste macros on, because it's not going to fill you up. So be prepared to eat basically the exact same food every single day at a certain point, right? It's just, you do what you need to do to get stage lean. 3, you're not going to have a lot of energy. You're going to be very, very low energy, right? As calories get lower, work, so what you're doing in the gym and cardio, that's only going to get higher. Maybe not the resistance training, but you still got to keep the same intensity that you were doing, at least as much as possible in the off season, right? What builds muscle is what's going to maintain muscle, and that's the goal, is to maintain muscle throughout prep. You are going to lose a little bit, but you want to maintain as much as possible. Cardio is going to go up, depending on the person. For me, I got to, I think, 5 by 70 and 2 by 90, right? So I was doing 5 days of 70 minutes of steady state cardio and then 2 days of 90 minutes of steady state cardio. So that was the last 2 weeks. That's a lot of cardio, right? And so you have to be prepared to go to a place where, you might go train, do 45 minutes of cardio, go about the rest of your day or whatever, and then come back and do another 45 minutes of cardio, right? Just to get it done. All right. So energy is going to be very low. You are not going to be motivated to do a lot. You're essentially going to be motivated to wake up, go to the gym, do what you need to for the day, for your job, whatever, and sleep, right? So very, very low energy. And 4, you can expect a life-changing experience. I know, I kind of almost went through a bunch of these negative things that are associated with prep, but I don't think they're negative. It's just the reality of what a prep is and what you're going to have to go through. And, at the end of the day, on show day, and you look back on what you've just put yourself through, you can't help but feel an insane sense of accomplishment and, a profound sense of growth personally, because you have pushed yourself harder than you have ever pushed yourself before. And it shows you what you're capable of doing, and the mental mindset that you can have and that you can apply to other areas of your life. Like I said, unless you're someone who's maybe been through a traumatic experience in life, for the most part, this is going to be the hardest thing some people will go through. And they will push themselves and learn things about themselves that they never knew that they knew, and they never knew that they could push themselves this hard. I know that was something that I really learned during this last prep, and how hard I pushed myself, and the job that I did was an amazing job. That was one of the few moments in my life that I was proud of what I had done and what I had accomplished. So that is, I think, something that outweighs, the lack of energy, the hunger, everything like that, that sense of accomplishment and that pride that you can take in and look what I did, right? Not many people can do this and then, come out of it unscathed, type of thing, right? And not having that nasty rebound afterwards. So what can you expect during prep? To quick recap, you're going to be hungry. You're going to be tired. You're not going to have a lot of motivation for anything, but you're going to have, by the end, a great sense of accomplishment. Even if you, find out that, hey, I didn't really enjoy being on stage. No one can take away what you did and what you learned about yourself through a 20 or 24 week prep, or something even longer if that's the case. So prep is fantastic. It can be fantastic. It can be a great tool to learn about yourself. Obviously you get in an insane shape, and it can be fun, right? You just have to come into it with the right mental mindset. Okay. Oh, and go check out Redefine Healthy's podcast on prep if you just want to hear more. Paul and Lauren, I think, do an amazing job on that podcast, talking about how hard it actually is. And it's not this easy thing like I expected when I first went and did my very first prep. It is hard. So go check them out, Redefine Healthy. Fantastic podcast. Something that I'm probably going to have all of my first time prep clients listen to before we start prep, because I just want to make sure that, we are mentally prepared. It is a mental battle, prep is. And so you want to try and come in it as prepared as possible. So to all of those who are looking to prep for the very first time, good luck. I hope this video helps you a little bit. Know that if you have a good coach who has been through it before, lean on them and use them, because they know what you're going through and they can help you get through the toughest parts of prep. So yes, that is everything today, guys. I thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content. And if you have any other questions that you would like to see answered in future videos, be sure to leave those down below or shoot me a message. Have a great rest of your Monday.